Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the pits of Motorcast. This is Joe Dave. Special guest I got on the line right now. Driver of the PC Cruiser, Wheelstander, Nitro Mike Kunz. How you doing, Mike?
Good, good. How are you, Dave?
Good. So how did they go out in Seattle this weekend?
Awesome.
How many runs did you do?
Oh, we did one on Friday night and one on Saturday.
Yeah, you usually put on an awesome show. You go all the way down the track on two wheels all the way to the end.
Oh, yeah. Gotta do it to the end.
And then you come back around again to the track right in the middle there and sit there.
Yes, sir.
That's pretty cool. Now, first question I got for you, Mike, is how did it all begin for you, and when did what year did you get into drag racing?
Oh, my gosh. Well, it started with snowmobiles and stuff like that, and then four-wheel drives, and then crewing for alcohol cars at the drag strips until finally I went on my own. With this car, I've been campaigning for the last 11 years.
Wow. So what made you get into drag racing in the first place?
It's the fun, good people. I call it camping with a car.
Now, someone told me to ask you a story about Great Lakes Dragway. Somehow you came all the way up there and got denied at the gate to come in the Great Lakes Dragway before.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Like I said, one of my listeners told me to ask you to tell the story about how you came all the way up the Great Lakes Dragway in Wisconsin and got turned down at the gate to come into the event.
You must be breaking up a little bit. I'm having a real
All right.
hard time understanding
All right.
what you're saying.
All
Sorry.
right. All right.
Probably my phone.
All right. Let me try one more time. One of my listeners said to ask you about a time when you came all the way down, drove all the way to Great Lakes Dragway, and then you got to the gate and you got denied to come in.
Correct. Yes. Yes. Great Lakes Dragaway.
What happened with that?
Well, what happened there is we drove all the way from British Columbia, all the way to Great Lakes Dragaway, and when we got there, they had forgot that they had booked us, and they had booked another Wheelstander at the same time, and jet cars and all kinds of entertainment, but they did forget about us, and as it ended up, we turned around and went home.
Wow. So what was that that was the last time you ever came up this way?
Yes, sir. Yeah. No, won't go back.
Now was Broadway Bob running it then, or that was some different owner?
Different owners, yes.
Yeah. Now you used to run back there all the time when Broadway was there, right?
No, I never had the pleasure of meeting Broadway Bob. I've been campaigning the Wheelstander, but just never got out that way when he was running the track.
So have you have ran at the Grove though? When Bob after Broadway Bob, you've ran the Grove before?
We did a show there the year before that they denied us the second year.
Okay, so the year before you did get in there.
The year before he remembered.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yes, sir.
So now, after all these years of doing the Wheelstander thing, Nitro Mike, what still keeps you passionate about doing this?
Well, it's the traveling, the people. The people are awesome. The people you meet on your way to a racetrack and at the racetracks, they're wonderful people out there. And the traveling's great. You get to see all the new places, and then of course the racing end of it. Well, that's just plain awesome.
Yeah, it would be nice to see the Wheelstanders go back to the old days when you had a big field of Wheelstanders come in and go two at a time.
We do a lot of that, actually. We run side by side, more so in the Midwest and the East Coast. On the West Coast, they don't seem to do it so much. They like to do it single. But in the Midwest, we run quite a bit side by side. And like I said, the East Coast, we run side by side, too.
Now, how many crew members do you have when you go out?
my wife, and I have my four-legged monster German Shepherd here, which is, he's learning.
Yeah. Oh, man. Now, do you have any sponsors, Mike?
Yes, I do. I have Nitro Lube, which is an oil sponsor, and we have one other one here that he's on the East Coast out of Michigan, and he's powder coating. And then the rest of it, we run on our own.
Yeah, it would be nice to see some more Wheelstanders, come out these days.
Oh, yeah, it would. I'd like to see more. But there's a half a dozen of us out there that are out there on a regular basis, and there's another half a dozen that do it part-time.
Then we got a couple of them. They're not going to be around forever. They're getting old, like Jim Brewer and Richard Hutchins.
Correct. Well, Jim will probably live another 25 years, so he'll be 110 and still doing it. And Richard Hutchins will be doing it another 30 years, so
and
it'll be a while yet.
and Hostley.
Yes. I had the pleasure of meeting him in Bakersfield, doing a show with him in March in Bakersfield. Yeah, wonderful people.
Now, I had a listener just message me. They asked me to ask you, when you do side-by-side wheel stand runs, who do you usually run against?
Well, there's a Wheelstander out there. I believe it's a 51 Studebaker, and the driver is Rick Ream. We've done shows together. We've done a few shows. Another gentleman you just mentioned, Jim Brewer. We've done shows with him. And we've run with Richard Hutchinson, done shows with him, and we've done shows with Hostley and a bunch of other guys.
Now, this listener that I'm talking to, he also said he knows the owner at Great Lakes Dragway, Randy, and he said he's going to try to talk to him and see if we can get you back in there again and try to fix what happened.
Well, I don't know how that would work, but I don't know. that was 6,000 miles round trip on my dollar, so I'm not very interested in going back.
Now, when you started wheel standing, Mike, were there any other wheel standers that were like inspirational to you back in the day?
Oh yes. Ed Jones has been out there a long time with the Jolly Rancher Stagecoach. He's very good at what he does, and that was part of an inspiration. And then there's on the East Coast, Danny O'Day has been doing it a very long time, and he was very good at it too.
So, what was the experience like for you to get behind a Wheelstander for the first time ever?
I'm sorry?
What was the experience like for you to get behind the wheel of a Wheelstander for the first time ever?
Well, that kind of started, I was crewing for a guy on an alcohol car, and he also had a door slammer with an alcohol motor in it. And he thought it would be fun to build a Wheelstander, and I didn't think, we had time for that kind of stuff. But anyways, there was three of us involved, and we built the first one, and it was a 57 Cameo pickup called Wheelie Fun. Eventually, it ended up in Australia. It got sold to the gentleman in Australia. And I ended up driving it for 4 years, and I didn't want to give up driving a Wheelstander, so I asked my two buddies that we built the first Wheelstanders with, they'd give me a hand with another one, and well, that's how this one became. We built a new chassis and put a PT Cruiser body on it, and away we go.
Now, when we're out on the track, Mike, when you get out on the track to the starting line, do you have any pre-race rituals or superstitions at all when you're out there?
No, just hope for the best.
Now, what goes into preparation to get that Wheelstander ready for a weekend?
Well, it's no different than any other car. You still have your regular maintenance. You got your valve lash, and regular routine checks. You're always changing oil. You're always checking things. And with this, constantly changing brakes, making sure everything's good in that department. Tires are good. It's because that's all I get to rely on is 2 tires and the steering brakes. So I pay close attention to that, and I pay close attention to my front suspension because sometimes it takes some pretty hard landings.
Then, of course, you have to check the hauler for the car, too, to make sure the hauler's good.
Oh, yeah, that's a given. I mean, we're on the road from March until November, and, you know, you have Monday to Thursday to do your maintenance because you're working Fridays and Saturdays and Sundays. So Monday to Thursday, you do your maintenance on your truck and your trailer and everything else.
Now, for you, Mike, what are some of your favorite tracks to go run on?
Well, we run right from the west coast of California all the way to the east coast of Maine.
But what are some of your favorite tracks to go to, though?
Favorite tracks? My gosh, there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them. They're all good tracks. They really are. I mean, I've gone down some 8-mile tracks. I've gone down some 8-mile airports, quarter-mile airports, old airports that have been shut down. But, you know, they do a really good job. And, yeah, some of the more elaborate tracks that are very nice, and Tulsa is a very nice track. Seattle's a very nice track. You know, New England Dragway is a nice track. Virginia Motorsports track is very, very nice. I mean, there's a lot. They're all in good shape, and they seem to do a good show.
Yeah, I was watching you run at Iowa a couple weeks ago for that. Our friend was doing a live feed from that.
Oh, yeah, Cedar Falls.
Yeah, that looked like a fun time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's another great track, good people. Yeah.
That was a late night, though.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Sometimes, you know, the show gets delayed a bit, but the show must go on, and I think we got back to our trailer after our run. It was about 1:30 in the morning, but it was all good.
Yeah. So now, where do you get all your fire safety equipment from, Mike?
Where do I get my fire safety equipment from?
Yeah. Where do you purchase all your safety equipment from, mostly?
Well, we have an onboard fire suppression system in the car.
Considered to be some of the milestones of your racing career.
Well, I guess my milestone was in 2012 in a place called Earlton, Ontario, where I set the Guinness World Record for the longest wheelstander.
That's your only milestone?
I would say that would be a pretty good milestone as far as wheelstanding.
Oh, yeah. Now, throughout your career, have you had any accidents or near accidents at all?
No, not in drag racing. I used to 4-wheel drive race and had many crashes that way, but not on pavement as far as drag racing.
Yeah, knock on wood, you're not going to have any.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, now I'm going to ask you some fun questions here. You ready for a few fun questions?
Oh, yeah.
If someone were to give you $200 million and ask you to build a brand new drag race track, where would you even consider building a new track, and what kind of features would you put into that track?
Oh my gosh, where would I build it? Boy, I haven't given that ever any thought. 102. Then it was 102 inches, and it is now 117 inches. In community at the racetrack, there's some wonderful people out there, and I truly enjoy it.
Now, if you and your wife have time to go on vacations, you guys have a favorite vacation spot to go to?
Yes, we enjoy Puerto Vallarta. Mexico is quite nice for us. We don't get a whole lot of time, but occasionally, every second or third year, we'll get a week off where we have the time and we can go soak up some sun on the beach and just forget about everything for 7 to 10 days kind of thing.
All right, so what's Nitro Mike's favorite food to eat?
Favorite
food to eat?
Favorite beach?
No, favorite food.
Oh, favorite food.
Yeah,
Well, I'm kind of old fashioned here. I'm a steak and potatoes and vegetable kind of guy, and not very fancy as far as food goes. But steak and potato and vegetables always seems to hit the spot.
Now, does the wife cook?
Yes, she does. She's a wicked cook.
So, what's your favorite dish that the wife makes?
Oh yeah, nothing like having a good old ribeye steak on the grill.
Nice. Now, how about you? Do you cook?
Yes, well, a matter of fact, when I graduated from high school, I took 3 years in college to become a chef, which never panned out. I thought I was cut out for that, but I've always had dirty hands as far as being a grease monkey and wanting to work on cars. So working in a kitchen didn't work out for me after some time, but I am a licensed chef.
So if you didn't do the drag racing thing, you think you'd be a chef?
Looking back now, no.
All right.
No.
Now, Mike, what's your favorite beverage drink?
Oh my gosh. Well, I've never been a real beer connoisseur. I do enjoy the odd beer. I'm more of a rye whiskey kind of guy with a little bit of Pepsi or Coca-Cola mixed with it. That seems to hit the spot.
Now, how about as far as non-alcoholic? What's your favorite beverage?
Well, if that case, it's fruit punch, something simple, or a bottle of water.
Now, do you have a favorite movie of all time?
Favorite movie? Boy, there's a lot of good movies out there. I'm kind of a 50s and 60s buff. I always enjoyed, the movies of Two-Lane Blacktop and American Graffiti and movies like that. A little old-fashioned.
Now, do you have a favorite music?
Oh, it has to be 80s rock and roll.
Now, when you say 80s rock and roll, you mean like Motley Crue, stuff like that?
No,
Bon Jovi.
Music too, as far as I'm a little tamer than that. I like a little AC/DC, and I like a little Leonard Skinner and little Kid Rock.
You like Bon Jovi?
Bon Jovi was good in the day.
Guns N' Roses.
Guns N' Roses was good in the day.
All right. Now, when you were a kid, did you have a favorite cartoon to watch, Mike?
No, when I was growing up, living on the farm, we had two channels on our TV, and black and white channels, and we didn't get to be watching cartoons, as we always had chores in the morning when cartoons are on, and no, never really got into cartoons. We were always doing something, playing on the farm or working on the farm.
All right. Now, when you're at the track, do you eat regularly, or do you eat very light, or you don't eat at all and wait till after the races are done?
Correct. I'm one of those guys that don't eat during the day. If I have a show to do that evening, I'll eat after the show.
Have a nice steak.
Sometimes, yes. Sometimes it could be very simple, little chicken fingers and fries from the concession stand. Sometimes if you're running late into the evening, that's all you get.
Yeah. All right, so Mike, this next question, I'm hoping to get a nice, good answer out of this one. What's been your most embarrassing moment on the track that stands out to you most?
Most embarrassing moment. Well, here's a little story for you. Well, years ago, we were running a Wheelstander, and we've always been asked, how do you see out of the car? and I was with I didn't want to hurt anybody's feelings or anything, but I put a dark pair of sunglasses on, and I had a white cane with a red dot at the bottom of it, and when I got out of the car, there was only bleachers on one side of the racetrack, and I got out of the car acting blind and waved to the crowd on the opposite side of the track where there was no bleachers and no people, and I had one of my crew members at the time come out to the track, turn me around, and wave to the crowd. So it was a joke of being blind, but after the fact, it wasn't that funny to some spectators, and I meant it in a good way of being a joke. We had one of the crew members on the starting line with a radio control box where you pull the antenna out with a joystick as to simulate that the car was steered remote controlly. That we thought it was funny at the time, but after the fact, it was all in good fun. But some people were offended by that, and that's probably the most regrettable moment on the track.
Yeah, I never thought about that. What do you guys are up in the air? What do you see when you're up in the air?
Well, the cars today are a little. The way that cars are built today, you can see both lanes, and you have to be able to see both lanes because we run side by side quite a few times. The vision is very, very good. So, meaning to say, from the foot box forward, which would be your feet forward, there's no floor. So it's just tube chassis. We have a very, very good vision.
So how do you know when you get to the shutdown area?
How do I know when I cross the finish line?
Yeah.
Well, you can see just like you would out the windshield, except I'm looking through the floor.
Ah. Well, yeah, I've never asked that question at any Wheelstanders before. Any Wheelstander driver, I've never thought about asking this.
Yeah, it's wide open from your feet forward.
So now, what would you consider to be the fondest memory of your whole wheelstanding career?
My fondest memory? Well, I would have to go back to setting the Guinness World Record. That was a pretty good time.
So now, if people listening in want to find out what tracks you're going to be at and all that good stuff, what's the best way for them to follow you, Mike?
They can look at the schedule on nitromike.com. There's a schedule for nitromike.com. Just a quick update here. I guess Wednesday night coming up is Castro Raceway in Edmonton, Canada, and then back in the United States would be on the West Coast, Spokane, Washington. Then we're back in the Midwest. We will be in Iowa, Humboldt, Dragway in Iowa, and we'd be up in Martin, Michigan after that for US 131. And then I think we're on the East Coast. We're at Virginia for Virginia Motorsports Park, a junior dragster for a 12-second car. And the following year, it's a 10-second car. And the following year, it's an 8-second car. And pretty soon they're in a dragster doing 7 seconds. And up the ladder they go. Into some kind of dirt racing or maybe into pavement racing. Each to their own. I mean, maybe they're...
taking time to do an interview tonight.
Well, you're very welcome.
Do you have any final words or thank yous or anything you want to do? It'd be good to keep doing it as long as you can stay in health.
Right.
How you doing health-wise? You okay?
Your weight or what have you that slows down your ability. You hit the gym and sharpen up a bit, you know. Try and stay as healthy as you can.
Oh yeah, you want to be able to fit into that fire safety suit all